So there's a site called hg.org. The
Can you pull it
website.
up?
Yeah, I'm going to pull it up. hg.org legal sources. I'm going to pull this up. And it pertains to the conversation that we're having right now. So I want to make sure that we give some sort of context on this because there is some level of literature on it. Obviously, I have not done the full research on this, but this is what came up. So at the website, hg.org for legal resources, there's an article that was written. You see if I can give the proper credits to the article writer. They're here. Okay, it does not show me who the article is written by, provided by hg.org, so it's provided by the service itself. So right here, there's a on the website here. It says monitoring provisions. While the majority of states do not require mothers or other custodial parents to provide proof of how funds are used, about 10 states have some type of mechanism in place that allows the parent to be compelled to account for these expenses. However, these procedures involved in utilizing the mechanisms varies across jurisdictions. Some states like Delaware, Indiana, Louisiana, and Missouri may require a custodial parent to provide a summary of expenses that are paid for the child for these funds when the non-custodial parent makes a showing of good cause or necessity for this summary exists. Nebraska may require a custodial parent to provide a sworn report that details how money was spent when the non-custodial parent provides evidence that the custodial parent exhibited an abusive disregard of the use of child support funds. On the other spectrum, some states like Florida, Oregon have the discretion to order the custodial parent to account for how he or she used child support funds. Washington and Oklahoma require language to be inserted in child support orders that state that the custodial parent may be required to submit an accounting of to demonstrate how the child support funds were used and to prove that the funds were spent to the benefit of the child. In Colorado, a case may be referred to mediation, in which the mediator may ask the custodial parent to provide an accounting for how child support payments were used.
Oh, so yeah, I win.
So, the one thing that has to be taken into account when this is all said and done, though, is the language said may. When you're looking at the bars in between the bars, it
Mhm.
said may. It does not say is required, as if it is mandatory in each case. It's saying that under a discretionary position, that maybe the father or the mother, whomever the custodial parent is being mandated to being scrutinized for how they're utilizing those funds. So
It would
therefore,
interest. It would be in their best interest to make sure that they keep a detailed record and not just spend the money frivolously and going out to buy red bottoms or whatever. It would be in their best interest to not do that because a mandate for them to provide said report may come down. They could
now
get on.
Now, the thing is that are the proper county agents or state legislative bodies, are these people actually going to put forth the pressure to do so? Reason why I say this is because of the fact that there's a trade off. And like I always tell people, there's a trade off when it comes to a lot of things. And one of those things that those trade offs come into play in is, do you have the proper employees or the proper staffing? Think about the IRS. Think about how long it's taken them to get some of those PPP loan offenders.
Mhm.
Think about the fact they had to create a task force solely to come and get those guys.
Yeah.
Now, remember, COVID was what, 2, 3 years ago? So you had to create a task force, hire up massive people, and allocate a huge budget just to make sure that you actually had the right amount of people to be able to go through each one of these cases and comb through these things so that you could find the offenders. So when it comes down to something along the lines of misappropriation, child support, is there somebody that is in place to assist with finding the misappropriation? Is there somebody that is actually skilled, an accountant, CPA, whatever have you, somebody who is in position to actually know what they're looking for, to be able to raise something and bring it into question and say, we need to get this person into a mediation immediately in order to find out what they're actually using this money for? Obviously, as you stated earlier, Sally's, I guess, Red Lobster. Well, my baby like Red Lobster. What she like the biscuits? She like the cheddar biscuits. So I got to make
Mhm.
sure she got the biscuits. Like, where do we draw the line? And reason why I brought up the concept of the may versus the hard line thing is because now the courts have to determine, and you understand that when it comes down to family court, as we've spoken about in earlier episodes, family court isn't like every other court because the truth of the origin of the problem is somewhere down here. Wherever the
Mhm.
problem started, if the wife stopped sleeping with you 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago, and you've been trying to figure it out since then, and she's not giving you anything, she's not obligated by any law to provide you with those things. There's nothing in the law saying that she has to give them to you. Now, you as a man is just like, I'm not going to keep paying for something that I'm not getting the use out of. Imagine paying a car note. I'm paying a car note on a car that's sitting in the driveway not running.
No
You going to
energy.
keep paying for that car?
No, eventually, no. No.
So technically, if I have a car sitting in my
It becomes
driveway, but
invisible to me.
man, look, technically, if I got a car sitting in my driveway, but I take an Uber to get to work, technically, I'm cheating on my car. So if I got a wife that ain't giving me the service that technically, I already said it. I mean, so go ahead and go through with it. So if I got a wife that's not providing me with the service that is part of the marital concept of what a wife is supposed to provide to you, then guess what? If I go out to go and get it from somebody else, technically I'm doing the same thing as I am from taking an Uber. Because clearly, no matter how much money I dump into the car, no matter how much I do with this car, the car doesn't run. There's
Mm.
nothing I can do to get the car to run. No matter how nice I treat you, no matter how good I treat you, no matter how many gifts I give you, no matter what I do, you won't give me that thing. So now, when other areas of my life are being affected by the lack of that thing, and I go over here to go and get that thing, technically is across the board. And I hate to have to complain. I hate to have to compare a woman with an inanimate object, but I do have to say that if what the contract says is not being fulfilled and I go someplace else to get it, whose fault is that really?
Mhm.
But the language of the law does not obligate this person to provide me that. Although it's an understanding.
It's an
Whoever,
understanding in the dead state that you can actually get the verbiage added into the order.
well, and again, this is something that is because again, it's like how often is enough? If I want it 4 days a week and you give it to me 2 days a week, but you're giving it to me 2 days a week, do I have a right to complain? Can I write this into an agreement stating that this is what you're obligated to do? I can't put those obligations on a woman to provide me with those services as often as I want them.
I get what you're saying, but you know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying. I'm only speaking in terms of the legality. I'm not speaking in return. I'm not.
Right, right. But you know what I'm saying? We kind of using like a physical body in it, and and it's not really apples to apples right now.
I mean, it's perfectly
In
apples.
this
It's,
particular analogy.
I mean, it's perfectly apples to apples. Because of the fact if I went to a car lot with the and I'm paying a car note with the expectation that the car is going to do what it agreed to do when I got it. When you said that this thing was certified pre-owned and was ready to drive, and I did everything I was supposed to do. I made sure the oil was changed, made sure the tires were rotated, checked the transmission, checked the engine, did everything I was supposed to do, and then it shuts down and it's just done. I did everything I was supposed to do over here, and it just decided to one day, you know what? No more.
Well, then you go back to the parents because that's the manufacturing company, and you
So,
take them.
oh, that's good. That's good. Okay, listen, ladies, by no stretch of the imagination are we trying to get score points off y'all. We just trying to say,
Oh man.
live up to y'all obligations, ladies. Don't put us in a position where we got to feel like this. We don't want to feel like this. We try to keep it
You want to answer
extraordinary at
your
all times.
question? I do want to answer your question. You said, "Where does the cutoff at?
Where's the line? Where's the line?
where's the line?" And this is the line. The line is anything that requires you spending money on you, the parent. No, that's the line. If it's strictly for the child, great. If you want to use, okay, you want to go to Six Flags, you want to take your child to Six Flags, no problem. You buy your child's ticket with the child support money, you buy your ticket with your money or the alimony money. That's how you do that. That's the line. The child money is the child money.
So here's the problem with that. Here's the problem with that. What happens when my car breaks down, but my car is the chief source of how I get your child to and from school and to and from the recitals and to and from karate practice and to and from
It's
here and
different.
there.
It's different.
But who's to say? Because technically I'm going to benefit from that car too. There are going to be days I'm going to drive that car to where she won't be or he won't be a factor. So am I only allowed to drive that car that I bought with the child support money only when it's pertaining to the child, or do I have actual use because the car is in my name? So it's like you can create a gray area or a buffer on almost any exception. When we talk
Right.
about leisure expenses,
I get you, and that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about leisure expenses. Like, okay, if you want to get your child's haircut or done, depending on if it's boy or girl, you spend that money out of the child support money. You do not go over here to Jackie's, you know what I'm saying, whip me down hair salon and spending $200-300 on your hair out of the child support money for you. That's all I'm saying. It's for the child. Now, if you want to spend $200-300, that's stupid. But if you want to do that for your child, maybe it's a special event. Okay, that's different. Fine. Spend it out of the child support money because you did spend it on your child.
so what you're saying is basically the language has to be broken down as far as leisure expenses, major costs to such and such.
That's it. Yeah, but as far as like the car, like damn, you need a new alternator. Okay, I get it. You do need the car to get your child back and forth. Okay,
Well,
50% alimony money, 50% child support money. Get a new alternator.
and that's why you have the courts. That's why you have lawyers. That's why you have arbitrators. That's why you have magistrates. That's why you have these different sectors to be able to come together and make these determinations because there are gray areas where some of these things are necessary. So if I look at it, let's just say that you are unwed, so you don't get alimony, but then your child lives here at this place, and it's like technically that additional money would assist with the assist with the rent. In my opinion, if we were living together and we were not married, and that payment that I'm giving you is supplementing something I was providing for the household, I can see the gray area there. But if I did not live with you and the child lives with you, should the child's money go toward the household expenses? Because it's almost like you're charging the child rent for being there. So if
Mm-hmm.
me and you were on good terms, you would not be getting a dime if we were on good terms. So technically, it's like, are you using this as leverage to source additional money to pay your bills. So that's why I say it's important to be able to have people in the legal field around you who can read through the language and help to create not necessarily the narrative, but to be able to help understand how to decipher the needs of the child. What are the needs of the child? Because if this does not happen and the child will be homeless after the fact, then it's kind of like, okay, well, is the child better off coming